Good morning and welcome to another Rockler Saturday online demo. Today we're going to be talking about epoxies, specifically these three epoxies from Moss that are now available at Rockler. But before I get into the specifics of these three epoxies, it's important to understand that the way epoxy cures is a chemical reaction. And so it's very important to read the guidelines and instructions of whatever type of epoxy you choose, because the mixing ratio, the temperature of your workspace, the cleanliness and dryness of your project, and the depth that you pour your epoxy all can have an effect on the success or failure of your project. Okay, so let's get started. The first epoxy I want to show you is the Moss Tabletop Pro, and as the name suggests, this is most often used as a top coat on tabletops or bar tops. It's often referred to as a bar top finish, just generically. Common applications for Tabletop Pro epoxy are clear top coats on tabletops, bar tops, furniture, counters, signs, and artwork. You can also use this epoxy for shallow pours up to 1/4 inch thick. This is a self-leveling coating that cures to a clear, glass-like finish on virtually any surface. It is applied by pouring the epoxy in an S pattern over the surface and then spreading it with a squeegee or foam brush. In terms of the technical basics, it's mixed to a 1:1 mix ratio. It has a 30-minute working time at 70 degrees Fahrenheit, a 24-hour cure time at 70 degrees Fahrenheit. The maximum recommended pour thickness is 1/4 inch, and it can also be tinted to be any color with color pigments, alcohol ink, and acrylic paints. Next up, we've got Moss's Penetrating Epoxy Sealer. Now this is a thinner formulation than the tabletop because it's intended to penetrate, seal, and reinforce wood. Penetrating epoxy sealer is flooded on the surface and allowed to penetrate into the wood. It's most commonly used to seal live edge slabs for river tables, reinforce deteriorating or porous wood, like an interesting piece of driftwood, and repairing decks, windowsills, and door frames. In terms of the technical basics, it's mixed to a 2:1 mix ratio. It's solvent-free, meaning it has 100% solids for a complete cure, has no VOCs, has a 20 to 30 minute working time at 75 degrees Fahrenheit, and is tact-free in 10 to 12 hours at 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Now the third and final epoxy I'm going to show you today is Deep Pour. Now if you follow the online woodworking or maker community, in the past couple of years, you're sure to have seen some of the projects that feature pouring large volumes of epoxy to either fill a void or encase a whole interesting piece of wood. And Deep Pour is the epoxy for that type of application. Now what I find especially interesting about those applications is rather than using the epoxy as a coating or a bonding agent, the epoxy is used as its own structural building material like wood or metal. Now granted, the look of epoxy isn't for everyone, but it does open up some interesting creative opportunities. Deep Pour epoxy is a low viscosity epoxy designed with an extended cure time that allows thicker pours for river tables, filling large voids, and encapsulating pieces of wood or other objects. The longer cure time minimizes exothermic reaction or overheating and improves air release to minimize bubbles. When mixed without tints, it results in a crystal clear glass-like finish. In terms of the technical basics, Deep Pour is mixed to a 3:1 mix ratio. The maximum recommended casting thickness is 1 inch at 70 degrees Fahrenheit. 24 to 36 hour cure time at 70 degrees Fahrenheit. It's compatible with color pigments, alcohol ink, and acrylic paints, and it can be sanded and machined. So there you have it, 3 different epoxies that cover a wide range of applications. I hope you found this interesting and that it'll be helpful if you consider doing an epoxy project. I'm Dan Carey from Rockler and Woodworkers Journal. See you next time.